Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Rewind Show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me tonight. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, welcome. This is a channel where we discuss lots of motorsports, namely NASCAR, ARCA, IndyCar, and Formula One. We do plan to broaden that scope eventually, but for now, that's what we cover. So on tonight's edition of the Camping World Truck Series Rewind Show, we are looking back at earlier today's 10th annual M&M's 200 presented by Casey's General Store from the Iowa Speedway, Newton, Iowa. 200 laps around this .875 mile D-shaped oval. And we're a little light on content tonight. I'm going to be completely honest with you. For whatever reason, we don't have Media Center video from Iowa. I don't know if that's going to change for the Xfinity race tomorrow, but they haven't given us anything from the truck race, so we don't have that, and we generally don't get highlights for the truck races, so we got results and we got points tonight, so let's get into it. Brett Moffitt is your winner for this one in the Destiny Homes Toyota. His second win of the season, third career Truck Series victory for Brett Moffitt. And this is a big win for that Shiggy Hattori team, given that their season is kind of in limbo right now. We don't know whether we're going to see that team on track past this week's race in Gateway, or this next race in Gateway, because they don't have sponsorship lined up. Which is a shame, because they've won 2 races so far this season and are legitimate championship contenders, and yet they may not have the sponsorship to run the full season to actually compete for that championship. It is a real shame, and hopefully they can pick up some sponsorship to carry them through the rest of the season, because they really do deserve to have that. Noah Gragson put on an impressive show there on the last lap. Dive bombed the corner in 3 and 4, very reminiscent of, if you remember, Carl Edwards doing something similar at Kansas back about 10 years ago or so. Basically a video game move, trying to get the lead and hoping the wall doesn't slow him down very much. Didn't quite work out that way. Noah Gragson still coming home with a second place finish, though, and Harrison Burton, his teammate, coming home in the third position after starting on the pole. Rest of your top 5 were David Gilliland in his own DGR Crosley truck, and Johnny Sauter in 5th. Rest of your top 10, Jesse Little with another strong run in 6th, Cody Coughlin. Christian Eckes in his Truck Series Premier comes home in the 8th position. Stuart Friesen had one of the stronger trucks in the field, gets caught up in an incident in the later portions of the race, comes home in 9th, and Myatt Snyder in the 10th position. Now, as we look down through the rest of this order, we'll see a lot of these trucks that were involved in that incident that Stuart Friesen was involved in. Stuart Friesen actually being the one truck that rebounded fairly well from that incident. Lap 137, Matt Crafton cut a left front tire going into turn 1 and ended up collecting a lot of really fast trucks. Ben Rhodes, Stuart Friesen, John Hunter Nemechek, and Dalton Sargent all involved in that one. We'll see a few of them here on this list. Grant Enfinger also caught up in an incident early. He comes home in the 11th position. Justin Haley down here in 16th. Ben Rhodes ends up in 17th after that late accident with his teammate Matt Crafton. Dalton Sargent there in 19th. And down here 21st through 30th, we'll see Matt Crafton there in 26th. John Hunter Nemechek in 27th after winning the first stage and coming home second in the second stage. Disappointing finish there for John Hunter Nemechek in 27th. Todd Gilliland got caught up in a couple incidents on the day. He comes home in 29th. First one for him was at lap 26. He had an incident in turn number 2. And the second one for him, very similar accident in turn 2 as well. Lap 104, and that would be the end of the day for Todd Gilliland. So that is your results from the M&M's 200 presented by Casey's General Store. And since we don't have post-race interviews from the media center, we're going to go straight into the playoff grid following this race. And as you'll see here, we've got the top 10 on the graphic, top 8 obviously in the playoffs. As you can see, the cutoff line there below 8th. Not a lot of changes this week other than Stuart Friesen making a big jump up to 4th. Obviously, Brett Moffitt also jumping up to 2nd with his 2nd win of the season. But not a huge surprise Stuart Friesen would make that big of a jump, given that he did finish in the top 10, and the rest of these guys, Grant Enfinger, Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes, all had problems on the day. Grant Enfinger had a decent finish, and as you'll see there, he is tied with Stuart Friesen now for 4th, but does still lose the spot to Friesen. Myatt Snyder also jumping over Dalton Sargent for that 9th position. Still a good chunk of points back, though, from Justin Haley. 31 points is a fairly sizable gap there at the cutoff line. At this point, unless Justin Haley, Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton, one of these guys has some issues going forward, I think you're going to have to see a win out of Myatt Snyder or Dalton Sargent to see them get into the playoffs. I think at this point, as we're really getting down here closer to the playoffs, you're going to have to see a win out of these guys, because 31 points is a lot to make up, unless, like I said, you see a bad race out of Justin Haley or Ben Rhodes or one of these guys. So that is it for tonight's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Rewind show. Like I said, I apologize. I'm at the mercy of what I am given from NASCAR, and that's we don't really have much tonight. Just results and standings, so I apologize for that. But that will do it for us tonight. If you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing from Racing News Now. And hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do. So with that, this has been the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.